Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's hobby live stream. Hello, everybody in chat. There are so many of you already here and ready to hobby, and I am so into that. That is awesome. Hello, Super Blue, Travis, Captain Discord, Joris, Paul, the Parts Work Comic Reader, Sai, Toy Painter 1, Havman. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing wonderfully today. I'm gonna scoop myself in a little bit, and then we're gonna jump straight into continuing to work on my Psychopage, because I have finished cleaning up all of his tedious teeth. Oh my god, it took me far longer than I want to admit, and I didn't even get all the way in the very, very back of his mouth because I said, you know what, screw it. 99% of the time when people are looking at this model, when it's on the board, you're not going to be able to see that deep into his gosh darn maw, and there's no point in me actually painstakingly trying to shove a brush in there and clean up all the teeth individually, especially with the big old tongue stinger thing of a noodle that is in the way. Because like you can't, I mean, you can't really see super well. Here, hold on, let me zoom in. Let me see, like, it looks really good, and you can see the majority of them, but I definitely I didn't bother going for the teeth that were in the very, very back. But he's gonna be like this majority of the time. This is the angle you're going to majority be seeing him at, and you can't even see those teeth in the back. So it doesn't even matter. I had to call that out because before I got started on the stream, I was like pre-prepping this, and I was like, I need to get the teeth finished cleaning up. I don't want to be working on that. I want to be doing hopefully some of the purple today. And so that was my goal, and I was working on it. I was like, there's no point in doing this, and I need to tell everybody that sometimes if you aren't gonna even see where the paint is meant to go, there's really no point in necessarily painting it and wasting your time on that, unless you're doing it maybe for competition. Like, that is the only time I could think of being that painstakingly detailed on it. Oh my gosh. I hope you guys are doing great. By the way, let me know how sound is, by the way. I don't think I've accidentally adjusted anything, but I just want to make sure everything is good. Joris, you said you finally got the new edition yesterday. That is amazing. Did you end up picking up Leviathan for yourself, or did you just end up getting, like, the book and everything? Let me know. And if you did get your hands on Leviathan, which are you more excited to paint? Are you more excited to paint the Tyranids, or are you more excited to paint the Space Marines? And you better not disappoint me, and it better be the Tyranids. I'm just kidding. You can be into whatever one you're more excited about. Hello, David. Welcome to the stream. Also, Toy Painter, hello. I hope you're doing well today. Okay, I've got everything set up. I want to jump straight into working on some of the purple. That is my objective today. I want to start getting purple on this boy. We did a little bit of a test on his butt, but I want to do more. So we're going to do that. Let me also just make sure, let me know if my focus ever goes like super weird. I think it's fine and good. I'm glad the sound is great. Thank you for confirming that, everybody. David, well, you are going to get an extra fun live stream tomorrow than if you treated yourself to my spicy VIP page, because we have another live stream tomorrow, also going to be painting, but it's going to be, well, because of where it is, a bit spicier. And the last one I had a lot of fun with, so I'm very much looking forward to this new one. I hope that you are too. If you guys are interested in that, if you are interested in my After Dark content, then you can always find more information about it and links to all of that in my link tree. That's the only place you'll be able to find it, because YouTube is obviously not very fond of that kind of thing, but there are ways for you to locate it. So you can check that out. And also currently on my Instagram, there are plenty of ads for it because the live stream is happening tomorrow, which means that there won't be one here. Just FYI, guys, there will not be a live stream on YouTube tomorrow. It'll be elsewhere because it's extra special. All right, that will be fun. Hello, Diggs. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? How are you doing today, sir? Hopefully very, very well. All right, I am ready to paint. We've been dilly-dallying and talking, and I've just been telling you about a bunch of things for a little while we let people get back into the stream. I just started. It wouldn't be getting back into. But get into the stream, and so now I think it is time for us to start painting. And I am going to do this by starting on his belly, where I feel more comfortable using this color, because I'm very scared to touch this for, like, streaking issues. I don't know why. I have painted plenty of things larger and flatter than this, and not had problems. I just, for some reason, it's really stressing me out. And so I've been avoiding it. So we're going to start down here on the bottom and work on some of these features first. Just to get myself into the groove of getting some paint on this thing. Because I don't know why this model stresses me out. He's so big and scary. And beautiful. How many of you guys, while I've got you all here, how many of you are wrestling fans and how many of you are watching the Ring of Honor pay-per-view tonight? Because I am, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I think there is going to be some very, very fun matches on there. And I think it's going to be pretty darn good. I'm on screen for you guys. Good, perfect. Hello, Travis. Welcome to the stream. Also, Sean, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon to you, sir. Oh yeah, this is looking lovely. I really, really enjoy the way that this color scheme is coming across. And I need you guys to know that. I don't know if you saw, if you follow me on social media. Because I don't think I actually shared it here on YouTube. Shame on me. But I've actually decided to name the Hive Fleet. I have determined what they're going to be called. I will tell it to you in just a second. I am slightly focused to make sure that I get this all done, because I did not get everything on this side. But it is based off their color scheme. However, we did not go with a comic theme, despite everybody being like, it's Hulk, or it's Green Goblin, or it's She-Hulk. I've also gotten a lot of Joker and everything, which has all been wonderful and totally ties into my comic book background, so I appreciate that. But this monstrosity and this color scheme is actually for Hive Fleet Maleficent. I think Hive Fleet Chuck. No, it is not Hive Fleet Chuck. It is Hive Fleet Maleficent. And I think it's gonna be perfect because I think the purple and green totally speaks to Maleficent. I am such a hardcore Disney fan. I love the old stuff from Disney. I still like a lot of their modern stuff as well, but I'm a very big fan of the classic animated features. Love it. It is more of I would say it's more of a violet than an indigo, but I think it could be either. It does have a little bit more blue in it than some of the other purples in the contrast line. So I'm not really sure, Travis, whether or not they qualify it as a violet or an indigo. They just call it purple. I mean, they call it specifically Luxian purple, so that they don't have to qualify that as much. They do always go well together. It's such a villain color scheme, which is why I wanted to, one, put it on my Tyranids, because they're not actually villains, they're just hungry little monsters, but I don't know, it worked for me. I thought it worked really, really well. Sean, thank you. Thank you so much for adding to my tank fund. You are wonderful. And, yeah, so Hive Fleet Maleficent. That is their name, and I love them. Okay, I got that purple on the bottom. Ooh, I've got some awkward pooling there. So let's just spread that paint around a little bit. Alright, that's better. I guess that's what happens when I flip it upside down and then it just all uses gravity, you know, to pool. Alright, that is great. I'm gonna leave him on this side while he continues to dry. And in the meantime, we'll plan out some of these other sections that we're going to paint, and I might even do a little bit of touch-up on this here. Just a smidge to darken that. Smooth it over a little bit. There we go. There we go. Yeah. I like that. Is this dry enough? Probably not. I'm gonna keep it flipped this way. Thank you, Travis. Thank you. That's gonna look like pickle work. I get you, Michael. this brush that I'm using here, this one, this is an Escada Parado brush. I got it off of... I either bought it off of Amazon or I may have picked it up from one of my local art supply stores, but this is a brand that you can find a lot in just regular fine art supply stores because it is a watercolor brush specifically. It's a, I believe it is a mix of Kolinsky sable and synthetic bristles, and so it is, I find that it keeps its tip very well. I've had this brush for like over almost 2 years, I actually think, and it has still maintained its tip in a very, very respectable way. Now, I do take very good care of my brushes. I use brush soaks on them. I have a thing to hang them down so that when they're drying, the water is not going into the fennel and it's instead going towards the bristles and away from the fennel so that you don't end up getting paint dried up in there accidentally and all of that kind of things, which can cause you to see your bristles start to split more quickly than you would otherwise if you're not cleaning your brushes well enough. So I always try to do that, and so this has lasted me a very long time. But, oh!
So,
yes.
This is not sponsored, but this thing is like $15 on Amazon.
Yes, this is the thing that I use. So I use this when I am drying my brushes, and, although that shouldn't be down there like that.
Sorry, it moved.
No, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, it looks fine. But yeah, that's what I use to actually dry my brushes after I've cleaned them with the brush soap and let them drip out. Because that way, you know, when you're using your brush, if you have it dry like this, like in a cup or something, if you have either inadequately cleaned the brush or you just happen to be using your brush for like a really extended period of time, and you got paint down into this portion, this silver portion, which is the fennel of the brush, over time, that can start to separate your bristles at this point, like at the tip of it, basically. They harden and it spreads, and then that was sometimes why you get fraying in your bristles. And so by having it go down this way, you're more likely to have any leftover paint that might be in there to go downwards because of gravity, etc. So yeah, I really like them for that reason. They are, I will say that because these brushes are quote unquote artist brushes, and they are a little bit of a, like, they're not a super expensive brand, but they are a little bit up there in regards to brand cost. They are a little bit more expensive. Like, I think this size 6 is between $34 to $44.
No, I don't think it's that.
Is it? I thought
it was 15 to 25.
Okay, it might be a little bit less than that, but it's still a little bit more of an expensive brush than... Okay, thank you. Yeah, because I don't remember off the top of my head, but I feel like it's a little bit more of an expensive brush than normal. It's not super expensive, but it's kind of up there. But it also, if you treat it well, lasts a really long time. And again, it's not as expensive as a full Kolinsky sable. Like, because those things are freaky expensive, because it's very high quality hairs from horses. But like, or
because it's a watercolor brush.
Yeah, this is the Escada.
You know what? I was wrong. It's a $42 brush.
Okay, that's what I thought. So this is a $42 brush, but again, I've had it for 2 years plus.
Yeah,
so
and to be clear, that's the Escada Reserva series. There's a cheaper brand or a cheaper line within Escada that is like...
Yeah, they make different variations of it. So I would highly encourage you to shop around, but like, I like Escada personally as a brand. Oh, I saw that. Yes, I've already said thank you to Sean for that particular tip. But yeah, that's my recommendation, at least for brushes. Also, hello to a couple of other people who have joined us while I was talking about brushes. Chipster, it's good to see you today, sir. Let's see, I think I also saw Tim come in and say hello. Hello, Tim. It's totally, yeah, I completely think it's worth the money if it lasts you for a really long time. And that is, again, I have to emphasize though, that not only is it a slightly higher quality brand brush, but I also did specifically take care of it. Like, I didn't leave it face down in water at any point to let the bristles like bow. You know, when I dry it, like I said, I hang it upside down so that the paint and water drips out rather than going into the fennel. I take quite good care of my brushes, or at least I like to believe I do, and that is, I think, partially why they do last me as long. But it's something to keep in mind. Hello, Tony! Welcome to the stream. Hope you are having a wonderful day today. All right, we're gonna switch back over here in a moment. I'm enjoying just chatting with you guys about brushes. It's really fun. I like talking about art supplies. I think it's weird because for me, like, art supplies are a weird, expensive, but niche product that, if treated well, can last you a really ridiculous long time. And there's ridiculous variety out there. And I think there's value in a lot of that because, oh my gosh, there's just so many different paint brands now, so many different brush brands now. There's a lot to explore and play with. And so it's always nice to just keep trying different things, and that's kind of what I've been trying to do, although I have found certain things like the Escada brushes that I just go to all the time. Now, that being said, I do use a lot of other types of brushes as well. I'm also very partial to this Tamiya brush, which also has been keeping its tip incredibly well. I really like this super tiny brush that I have from God Hand, because that's actually what I use to clean up the rest of his teeth, because I use this little tiny sucker to go in there deep and like get the backs of his teeth and everything. And then I do use the Citadel synthetic brushes fairly regularly too. I just tend to go with synthetic because I work with contrast paint and I find that they absorb the contrast paint perfectly fine without needing it to be extra expensive because it's Kolinsky sable. You know what I mean? Also, Diggs, welcome back. Welcome back, Diggs. All right, let's go ahead and switch back to our screen here. He's pretty much dry now, for the most part. We'll do a little bit of touch-up on him, but I'm gonna start working on the legs, I think. In fact, I'll stick with my Escada. It's a good brush. All right. So my plan here is on the legs, I'm going to be doing the bottom portion in bone to represent the, like, you know, their weapons. But he's got some chit in here, so let's go ahead and take care of that in purple. I'm not going to be too worried if I get purple on this section, because I'm going to be I can do a touch-up, but we want to be careful when we're next to the green. Looking fantastic. Let's rotate and do the other side. Fantastic. I really like this color. It's such a soft, beautiful purple, but still incredibly vibrant. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
They can't hear me.
Oh.
I was asking.
Yeah, I have my phone on. He wanted to know if I... By the way, FYI, I should actually let you guys know this. There will be a point relatively shortly, around 3:30, where I will be briefly piecing out to go pick up a delivery, which is what I'm waiting on a call for. And then as soon as that is over, I will be right back. So we will have a very brief intermission a little bit earlier than we normally would, but do not worry, everybody. Michael, you've asked if I thought about painting Space Marines in the style of 2nd edition using classic method of painting. No, I have never thought about that recently. I definitely have thought about that in the past, but I do not specifically enjoy painting in the more classic opaque color scheme style. I find the process of doing base coat, wash and then edge highlighting to be incredibly tedious, and I've never really enjoyed it. That's why I actually do use contrast paint as much as I do, is because I just find it so much more enjoyable to work with. Because to me personally, and maybe this is just like my background, but contrast paint to me functions the way that I feel like paint should. Which is, I know, weird because there's plenty of opaque paints, but like I'm so used to working with like watercolors and inks from my background in comics that working with opaque paints and blending, oh shit, Okay, I thought I just touched the leg, and apparently I did not. Okay, that was scary. I just don't enjoy it as much. So it would be an interesting challenge, that I would say, and I'll keep it in mind for that. But it's not my go-to way of wanting to paint. Like, I'm pretty sure when I paint the Panzer, I'm probably going to upset a lot of old school scale model builders with how I end up painting it, because I'm going to be using contrast paint on it. And I think it's going to work brilliantly. I don't think there's going to be any actual issues there, but I just think the process is going to stress people out. And it's going to be interesting to see how that video does. I'm looking forward to it, though. I think it's going to be really fun. And I am planning on using weathering powders on the sucker, so that is going to, I think, also just enhance the overall look, and I cannot wait. All right, let's... We're looking good, we're looking good. We left off a little bit here, so let's take care of that. Perfect. All right, flipping him back over. Moving a little bit of paint around on the sides here while it's facing down. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, I am satisfied with that. We'll let it dry a smidge. Oh, I've heard of the Away Mission Star Trek game. Oh, that's gonna be really cool, actually. I do not thin my contrast paints that much, Tony, to answer your question. I do use a little bit of water just in my brush, like, so I'll demonstrate. So what I'll do if I'm, you know, my go-to is I'll wet my brush, you know, get it kind of wet, get some of the water off. I will then kind of dab it on a brush like that, or not a brush, a paper towel like that. And then whatever is left in there from that point forward, I'll dip it into my paint pot, get some brush on my, or get some paint on my brush, and then start going. If I find that the paint pot is older and perhaps the paint itself isn't flowing exactly how I would expect contrast paint to flow, then I will add a little bit of extra water in that case. Or if I'm specifically trying to do some layering where I want it to be thinner, and then because I want to gradually build up the color rather than laying a thicker coat on and letting it kind of just settle as it likes to, then I will add a bit more water to the mix. But normally, no, there's not going to be a lot of extra water in the contrast paint because it's already a lot more fluid than, say, your standard like base paints, which is why I don't feel like you need to add too much to it. Travis, to answer your question, if I painted a Warhammer miniature with pastel colors? Pastel, no. I don't actually think I've used that many pastel color tones. Like, I've had occasionally, like, certain things that will end up being, here, I'll switch over to our full screen. I've had certain things where I've, like, ended up using, say, like, a very pale dry brush color. Like, for example, like, Dorn's Yellow, for example, I've used, which is technically a pastel yellow. But I've never done an entire miniature explicitly in pastels. There is a girl on Instagram, I think she's literally called Pastel Hammer, and that's what she does, and I love her stuff. It is so soft and just like beautiful looking, and I love it. It's really, really cool. Oh, that's actually really not good to know, Diggs. So that is a very good pro tip for people who might be building terrain. Diggs says that the clipboards from the Dollar Tree have a thin MDF type base to them, and it's 9 by 12, which is a pretty good size for a terrain, like doing, building terrain onto, and then being able to put onto your table. So I think that is a really good call out, and I will keep that in mind, Diggs. Thank you for that. Diggs, enjoy your having everybody over. I hope dinner is amazing. Thank you for being here. Have a lovely day, sir. All right, let's get back to painting. Although, let me just making sure my sound's on for when my order arrives. It should be here hopefully shortly. You know what? I'm not gonna actually get started on the next section because of that. Because I'm gonna end up, knowing my luck, I would start something, I would not finish it, and then I get the call. That's what's gonna happen. So we're just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait until my order arrives, and then I will go get it, and then we shall continue painting. Because I just feel like that's more logical. Oh, well, thank you, Joris. I enjoy that outfit as well. Ooh, Michael, you're hit bashing in an Inquisitor and some kill team models. That sounds really fun. That sounds really, really cool. Also, Ronald, I don't think I commented on this earlier, but thank you. I also am enjoying the colors of my NIDs. Keith, that sounds so cool. I completely missed that you said that your buddy used some contrast paints on his bolt action tanks, and that is awesome. I think they work really well. I've used plenty of contrast paints on like Warhammer tanks. There's nothing in my mind that is going to tell me that it's going to not work on a Tamiya tank as well. And so I have some plans. I do need to go back out to my local scale model shop, Hobbies Unlimited, because I am actually wanting to see, and some of my other game stores might have this as well, because I know there are plenty of, like Vallejo, for example, makes some historical colors within their line, and I think they even make primers, or like spray primers of those exact same colors. But I am wanting to prime it, like spray prime the thing in a gray, like a Panzer gray color tone, and then just apply washes and do some detail work. And I think it's going to be amazing. I'm actually very excited for when I paint the Panzer. But like I said, I don't know if all of the old school scale modelers are going to be as thrilled by my method, considering I already have some people in the comments on that video being like, you really should paint this before you assemble it. It'll just make your life easier, especially the treads. I hope you can take the treads off. And I'm like, it's gonna be fine. There's nothing on the Panzer tank that is in such, like, I don't know what people are stressed about. Like, I genuinely do not understand, because I've painted enough models where, like, I've had weird angles to have to, like, maneuver around because it's been fully assembled, and I've been able to manage fine. Like, yeah, sometimes it's a little bit more of a pain, but the Panzer doesn't have that many recessed areas. And so I'm just like, what is gonna make this so much more what about this do you think is going to make it difficult to paint? I don't know, but that's what people in my comments are telling me sometimes. Tim, to answer your question about which of the new NIDs I'm going to order, probably all of them. I like both of the different boars that we saw, or the gores. I can't remember now what their suffix was. But I liked both of those. I like both the Norn Emissary and the Norn Assimilator, I believe it is called. I obviously want to get my hands on some of those new Gene Stealers. I have plenty of Gene Stealers because of my Space Hulk game, and I will actually hopefully be using those. I need to make sure that I can actually get them onto the proper base size. That's my one concern with using the ones from Space Hulk, because I don't want to like mess them up in a way that they can't be used in Space Hulk. Putting them on bases is not going to do that. But I do need to make sure that they can fit on the proper size bases. I think, though, because they're on 32mm now, I want to say, Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure, but I think the new Gene Stealers are on 32mm bases, and so I think I'll be able to get all of the NIDs onto 32mm bases without too much of a problem. But yes, that's my goal. That is my goal, is I hope to, and I'll probably get all of them though. I have a problem with buying plastic toys, if you haven't noticed. Just look at all of the Lego behind me. I mean, those are still plastic toys. I have a problem! Tim, I completely understand why you might be jealous of my copy of Space Hulk, considering it is an out-of-print game and quite expensive when you do find it. From my understanding, like, I feel like most people who are selling it, it's going to be definitely secondhand, and it's going to be probably up there in value because it is an out-of-print game and everything. I really wish my order would arrive. They were supposed to be here by now. And I want to get back to painting. But it's okay. We're having a fun conversation. Yeah, I use a lot of the Army Painter spray primers too. I use a mix of either the Army Painter spray primers, depending on like what I'm working on. And then I do use the Citadel ones though, because I specifically like their Wraithbone and Greyseer primers because they do work extremely well with contrast paint. Go figure, they were made with it. So it's one of those things of like, I use both, but I do really like the Army Painters primers a lot. When I was working on the bulk of Chaos Cultist Necrons, we ended up getting like 4 bottles of primer for the alien purple color tone, because that's what we base coated all of the NIDs, or not the NIDs, all of the Necrons in, because then I just dry brushed some really bright, beautiful colors over top of them, and I loved it. Sean, I'm completely there with you. I think Lego and 40K totally go together super well. Completely. Alchemical Rabbit, that's kind of what I was thinking. We may end up having to like shave some of them down a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. I don't think it's going to be too bad and like hurt the models too much or anything, but I do think we'll be able to get them on bases without a problem. I hope that they actually come out with a new Space Hulk, just considering the fact that Leviathan was a NIDS versus Marines. They really focused on Terminators. Like, honestly, when they announced Leviathan at first, I genuinely was convinced that it wasn't going to be 10th edition, that they were, like, teasing us with Space Hulk first and then going to announce 10th edition afterwards. Didn't end up being the case, but I think it would be super cool if they re-released the game, especially considering they have all of the cool door options for, like, from Kill Team, which then I think could be like sold either within the game itself as just a bonus, hey, cool extra things to make this feel even more like real and lived in and look cool, or as an add-on thing to just like be able to spruce up your game a little bit. I think that'd be amazing. And especially if they ended up adding a couple of additional like wall designs that really, really, really made it feel like a Blackstone Fortress or that kind, or like a Space Hulk rather. Not a Blackstone Fortress, like a Space Hulk. And just like had more alien shit on it. Like, that's what I want. I just want more alien-esque terrain things, you know what I mean? They do have boarding actions still, absolutely, yes. So you can totally play the game and actually give yourself a Space Hulk-esque vibe. But I actually want it to be the board game. I want it to be sold as the board game. New edition, fresh models, use those cool new Gene Stealers maybe. Update them a little bit to still be climbing on some walls, give us some fun alternate options. I think it would be fantastic. And to see, like, the chunkier Gene Stealers and, honestly, the even more terrifying Terminators in that game, I just think it would be really fun. I just think it would be really, really fun. Bye, Joris! I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Hopefully I didn't miss you before you were completely gone. I'm sorry about that. I like Vallejo's paints a lot, Chipster. I completely understand why you might be moving over to them. My biggest problem is I find it very difficult, at least where I live, to get my hands on Vallejo paints consistently. Now that I say that, I do think one of the stores that I'm closer to now does have a little bit of a better selection, but it's not as much as like I've seen in other places. Like, and I'm so bummed by that because Vallejo's has some really, like a really wide selection of colors. You know whose paints I also really like? that I don't think gets talked about as much, but I really think the quality is nice, and I have no idea what the modern quality is, but when I bought them, and they still are in very good shape. Master Series paint from Reaper. I actually think Reaper has some like interesting, very creamy paints, and I like them a lot. They're actually very fun to use. Oh, Chipster, that sounds so fun! Painting up your Terminators as Grody Knights. That will be really, really fun. Alright, let me just check on the tracking for my order, because if I had known I'd be waiting this long, I probably could have actually... Okay, he's gonna be here in like 6 minutes, so we're just gonna keep chatting for a little bit. Sai, enjoy your shower. I hope you have a good work day tomorrow. Please do get some rest afterwards, and I am glad you were able to successfully get all of your chores done. That's fine. Doing small conversions like that's totally fun, right, Chipster? Greetings, Mercarion! Welcome to the stream, sir. We are working on Tyranids today. However, I am waiting on a package to arrive, and when it does, I need to go downstairs and get it, and that's going to be here in roughly 6 minutes. So instead of getting started on the next section and potentially having to stop midway and messing up my paint, I'm just waiting until like after I've gotten my stuff. It's midnight where you are, sir. That is way too late. You should go to bed. I would be asleep. I would not be awake at midnight. I go to bed like not super early, but I feel like sometimes I go to bed really early. But I also get up at, recently, 3 in the freaking morning because my cat, my gosh darn cat, he's so hungry. I don't know what has gotten into him, but he like woke me up at like 3:30 this morning as if he was starving. And I'm like, boy, it is way too early for this. The earliest I will allow you to get my butt out of bed in the morning is 5 a.m. Go to sleep. And then I shushed him and got him to chill out. And then he proceeded to do the same thing again at 4. And so I had to shush him away again. That was my morning. That was my morning. So I go to... my point is because of my cat waking me up super early in the morning, I tend to go to bed earlier in the evening. So the fact that you're up at midnight just... my mind, I couldn't do it anymore. You know, Ronald, I completely agree. I also enjoy going to bed kind of early. But I'm also one of those people that is really dependent on sun. Like, it's really weird. I will be way more active and in such a better mood when it's daytime, and then as soon as it gets not daytime, I sometimes can still work and like do work things. Chaos Cultist can attest to this, because I will sometimes bring to him like sponsorship emails at like 9 p.m. and he's like, it is way too late for this and I am too tired to think about this. Please talk to me about it later. And I'm like, yeah, you know, you're right. I have a problem. I check things at night, even though I'm super dead tired and really should not be checking things that late because I have way more energy during the day. Oh, parts work. That sounds so cute. My cats do not nibble, thankfully, on me too much. Although, my girl cat, she does like to nip at me a little bit occasionally. If she's like, hey, Mom, I really want you to pet me right now. Please do so. And you're not doing it consistently enough. And then she'll like bite me slightly. But it's always in that like little soft like bite. Not a like really hard bite or anything like that. But what my boy cat will do is he will just decide to walk all over me. He's like, do you have personal space and are you asleep? I don't care. I'm going to land on you when I jump onto the bed sometimes, and then I'm going to immediately start screaming in your face and nuzzling your chin, because that's what he does. And it's super cute, but also really annoying, because sometimes, like today, it was at 3 in the gosh darn morning. I think my order will be here in 5 minutes. Yeah. Let's see, let's update, let's check and see if he's about to turn onto the block. I will be back, everybody. I will be back in roughly 10 minutes. Keith, enjoy your dinner. Enjoy your movie. I hope you're going to see either Oppenheimer or Barbie, one of those two. That would be delightful. I hope you have a great time. William, it's lovely to see you. Don't go anywhere. I'm about to go briefly to run down and grab a package. However, we will not be ending the stream quite yet. We will get back to painting this Tyranid very shortly, but I will be right back, everybody. Don't go anywhere. It'll just give me like 5 to 10 minutes, okay? Probably even less than that, but like just in case he suddenly hits traffic for some reason, turning into my apartment or something. All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Goodbye for a moment, for 5 minutes. Hello! I am back! I have received my delivery, and now I can stop stressing about it, and we can actually get to painting more. I have been painting. I have, in fact, been painting, but we got slowed down because I was waiting on that delivery. But everything's fine now. Let's shake this back up. Also, I checked while I was out. There was like 50 of you hanging out with me today. Thank you. Thank you, Chipster. Thank you for welcoming me back. I am glad to be here. Let's get to painting because we do have to actually end this stream at 5 because I believe that is when the Ring of Honor pay-per-view starts, and I am not missing that because there are some good matches on that. So let's actually start working on this in some more seriousness. All right, let's do it. I really want to work on the face, so this is what's happening. This is what we're doing. I'm going for it. I'm just gonna be bold. I'm gonna put paint down. Let's go. This way, also, I feel like I've made some progress. I should probably get my headphones back on so I can listen to some music while I'm doing this, but I'll do that in a second. I've got wet paint, and I gotta deal with it. The bobbins, I cannot show you what it is. I apologize. That will probably not be. It's nothing super exciting. It was just a food delivery. Well, not really food delivery actually. It wasn't food specifically, but it was a delivery that I will not be sharing specifically. Ooh, Tony, what are you getting? Something you actually can unbox and it's hobby related? That sounds amazing. I love unboxing hobby things. I got a notice randomly, and I need to look into where or whom it's coming from specifically. But I got a notice that I have a package coming from like Hong Kong, and I don't know what it is, but I have a slight suspicion. And I can't say anything more than that until I have confirmed. But I'm excited if it's what I think it might be. Oh yeah, this is looking so good. Look at him, he's so purple and green. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's switch him over. Get a little bit more paint on my brush because I want this to flow very well. You know, I might repaint that. Let's see. Let's see. No, I kind of like it in purple. I might redo it though. I might decide to do some of the stuff on his face in bone. But I think this is working really well. I think this is gonna be fine. All right, there we go, there we go. And then on his face. Move all this color back down those spines. I want it to be dark, but not that dark. There we go. Ooh, go fast, go fast, go fast. Go fast. Don't let it cool too much. You don't actually have to go this fast. I'm just like, I don't know why. The chitin on this boy just stresses me out, and I want it to look really cool. I've been seeing everybody else's really cool, like, Tyranids, and I think that's why. My favorite wrestler, William? I mean, it really changes, honestly, but I think... Who would I say my favorite wrestler is? Who can I always watch and I like never get tired of it? God, there's actually a lot. I have a lot of people that I really, really like. So one of my favorite wrestlers, I have two men that I'm gonna name as two of my all-time favorite wrestlers because I just think the majority of their storylines that I have ever witnessed, I have incredibly enjoyed. One of those individuals is Sami Zayn. I just think he is amazing. Everything that he's ever done with Kevin Owens has been fantastic. Really, like, just his entire career, I enjoy a lot. Hold on, I need to do a little bit of touch-up, and I need to be delicate. So, one moment, folks. I will finish answering the question about favorite wrestlers in 1 second. Alright, that is looking better. Good, good, good. Alright, that looks a lot less splotchy. I will need to go in and do the sides. Don't let me forget to do the sides, okay? Hold on. There we go. Okay, it's almost good. And I just want to darken a little bit back here. Okay, almost done, guys, and then I'll focus back on you for a little bit. Alright, I'm gonna let that dry. We're gonna let that dry. I'm gonna switch us back over to full screen for a bit while I let that dry, because it's kind of boring, I guess, to watch paint dry. And, okay, so back to my favorite wrestlers, now that I've also got my headphones on and I can actually hear the music again. So, I am very focused, Max. I get so focused sometimes on painting. So, back to my favorite wrestlers. I really like Sami Zayn. One of my all-time favorite matches involves Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura at NXT when Nakamura first debuted, I believe it was. And that match was just insane to me. It was so good. I loved every moment of it. It was also like around the time where Zayn was like champion in NXT for the first time, and just like, I don't know, it was a really good time. So Sami Zayn is there, and then the other one who I actually just really, really like is the man who often works with him, Kevin Owens. I just think both of them are phenomenal. Kevin Owens, I really like his attitude. I think he's great. To go over, like, because those are two, like, male wrestlers that I really like. In regards to female wrestlers that I really like, I'm a big fan of Asuka. I think Asuka is amazing. When she first came over to NXT, that was my first experience with her, and then I looked up some of her stuff as Kana, and the woman gives no fucks, and I love her attitude. I just think she is an astounding woman. But I also am a huge fan of both Athena, Willow Nightingale, they have a match today on NXT. The bunny also, like, favorite wrestler, also just favorite person in AEW, genuinely. She is a massive horror fan, if that is not obvious from, you know, the fact that she's with the Butcher and the Blade, and her and the Blade are just the, like, admitted horror fanatics. But, like, she is also super cute, like, has just enough, she has this perfect blend of me, or to me, she has this perfect blend to me of tomboyish things that she's into, but also really girly things that she's into, and that speaks to me on a lot of levels, because there's a lot of things that I am really into that is very male dominated, if you weren't aware. And she's also into a lot of things that are very male dominated, but she also really embraces her femininity.
You have your Japanese wrestling waifu, and I have my Japanese wrestling waifu.
Shida is also amazing. Like, the problem is okay, when people ask me to pick my favorite wrestlers, I have a hard time doing that. I could tell you easier who my least favorite wrestlers are than I can tell you my favorite ones.
No.
I'm not going to. Yes, Allie. Yes, Michael, absolutely. The bunny, aka Allie. She is amazing. If you've not watched her vlogs, I would encourage you to, because even though they're kind of intermittent and I don't know if she's as consistent with them as she used to be, she does, like, cover horror stuff and just, like, what's going on in her life, and she's just adorable, and I love her. But yeah, it would be easier to tell you guys who my least favorite wrestlers are than to tell you who my favorites are, because I actually have massive respect and therefore appreciation and, like, just liking of all of the wrestlers, because I just really, really respect what they do. Sir William. El Generico and Sami Zayn are two individual people, and the only reason we don't see El Generico nowadays is because he is running the orphanage, I believe in Mexico it was. I can't remember specifically, but I know he's running an orphanage somewhere. I know that he and Sami Zayn talk still, but, like, they're not the same person, sir. They are two individual people doing different things. Tessa is cool. No, that's awesome. I completely agree. Asuka, yeah, Captain Discord, I mean, just Asuka is... No one's ready for her. And that remains true. I love her so much. Also, I'm so proud of you, Captain Discord, for getting your first 10 Termagants. Termagants, sir? It's Termagants! They're not Gaunts! They're not Gaunts. I learned this recently. They're not Gaunts. They're Termagants. I'm proud of you for getting those done. I still have not finished mine. I actually got 5 of them. I started breaking them into squads. You may have seen me post about this on Instagram, but I needed to break them into individual, like, smaller groupings, because doing the full 20 was driving me insane and I could not get through it. So I broke them into 5-man groups, and I have completed one of those. And I've gotten through half of one of another one. So progress is being made. And we're also obviously working on our Psychopage today. He's still drying though, so we're not gonna, I don't want to accidentally press on him anywhere where there might be still some wet paint and mess it up. So we are going to take our sweet time on this and go slow. But I am very, very pleased with how he's coming along. The purple is the correct richness of color that I want. So, loving that, loving that. Oh, and Tony, I don't know if I answered this already or if you heard me say it previously, so I will let you know again, because I just saw your question about what purple I'm using specifically. I am using Citadel's contrast color Luxian purple. It is one of my favorite contrast colors. It is beautiful, as you guys can see. It is creating a very, very, very pretty purple, although it looks a little blue in the lighting here because of my camera, so don't take that with a grain of salt. But it is a very beautiful purple, I swear. Was there actually a Royal Navy destroyer in World War II called the HMS Termagant? Because that is hilarious.
I can believe it.
And I would 100% believe it, but I had not heard that.
Why are you painting?
Because he's drying. He needed to dry.
Okay, come here.
Okay, what?
I have to talk to you about something.
All right.
And then the... But you can... If you use... the Kent.
Alright.
Fine.
Okay.
We agree?
We agree. Alright.
Cool.
Okay, awesome.
Alright.
Alright, awesome. Thank you. Alright, thank you. Alright. Got our little conversation out of the way. Oh! Actually, that's a thing I can leave for later. My brush almost rolled dramatically off of the table. I think he might... Nope. I lied. He's not dry enough. I just saw a big wet spot. We're not. Tim, I would highly encourage it. I actually think contrast paint is incredibly noob friendly. One of the reasons, so like just to talk about it a little bit, because I know we talked briefly earlier during the stream of would I ever paint something in the traditional method? The answer to that is I don't have a desire to. Would I do it for a challenge or something like that? Yes. But the reason that I don't use traditional paints over contrast paints and why I like to use the contrast paints so much, outside of the fact that I feel like contrast paints, for me, feels like it flows like paint should, because I'm used to working with inks and watercolors from my background. One of the other reasons that I like contrast paint so much over traditional paints is because the paint itself requires a lot less thinning straight out of the pot. It goes onto the model in a much thinner capacity already, which means that if you make a mistake, or you hate the color that you've used, or you just are really like one of those people that needs to visualize it on the model, but then you maybe are not liking it, so you want to keep doing more and more testing, I find contrast paint is a lot more receptive to that reiteration or that cleanup process, or even making mistakes. Because of how thin it is, you can easily put a thin layer of primer back over top of it, and you're not actually adding that much excess paint, which over time, at least in my experience in the past, would over time create buildup on the model, which would degrade the quality of the model because you would start losing details. Your paint would be too thick, and that's why you sometimes in the past, like I'm sure you guys have seen them online, maybe even have some in your own collection, where you have like a really old Space Marine or some other really old model, something you painted when you were real young or just very, very new into the hobby, and maybe had like zero art background previously, and you just slopped on paint way thicker, and then you end up getting these really like derp looking Space Marine faces or helmets because the paint was just on there too thickly, and it created texture, which didn't look good because it changed what the sculpt looked like because of the buildup. Contrast paint, in my experience, does not have that same problem. You can layer it a lot more heavily, and you just don't get that buildup as quickly because of how thin it is. And personally, I just find that really, really, really nice, especially when you're new into the hobby and you might be scared to try certain colors or experiment with certain things, or just you've never painted a model before and you're like, where do I even begin? And now you can have the ease a little bit of approaching a model, starting with something and going, you know what, this is either working and I'll keep going, or this is not working, I need to start over, and you can reprime it and it works totally fine. And that's one of the reasons I just really like it. Oh, that's really cool test pattern. I will have to look that up because I don't think I've watched that podcast, but if it has the gentleman who helped develop contrast paint, that I would love to listen in on that, because that I've never really, I've read some of the interviews I think with him, like when the line was first coming out, but I haven't really like looked into the development of it that much. So that sounds really awesome. Yeah, I completely agree. It does feel like it was made to help newbies ease themselves into painting. And the nice thing is because contrast paint is as flexible as it is, you as a like advanced painter, if you've been painting for years, you really feel like you know your stuff, you can use them and utilize them in ways that maybe aren't initially advertised, but still are a perfectly acceptable way to work with them. Like, I know plenty of people who substitute them for washes almost exclusively, rather than using a traditional wash, because people like the extra punch of pigment that you get with contrast paint because of how the paint works. And sometimes that works really well as a glaze or a wash or whatever, and then you can do additional highlights or additional shadow work or whatever you want over top of it, and it doesn't build up so much paint that you're losing the detail on your model, which I just think is really great. Tim, you are very, very welcome. I think it's really important to let people know, especially if they're new to the hobby or they feel like they've, don't really know what they're doing, or they just have not done this that often. Confidence is the thing that can make or break you loving the hobby. And so being able to go in and know this is meant to behave this way, or it's okay if I experience it in this way and I can adjust things, like knowing that those things are normal and completely a just thing that happens in the hobby process, I think is incredibly important, because otherwise it can be very discouraging to want to get into something like that, especially if you don't have a background in something else creative like painting or art or something like that, and you're like, wow, I've seen this for the first time, or I've been gaming for years but I've never really felt confident painting. Maybe I can with this product. And I really do think contrast paint did a good way, or went about that in a very positive way. Thank you, William. I also really like my top. It's a super cute one. I love this color, like this teal color tone. It's really, really nice. Not something that I used to wear very often either. I used to avoid blues a lot because I thought it would like contrast with my flesh tone. And then I don't know why. I don't know why I thought that, but blues look fine on me. I think it's because I also just really used to like having, like I used to have red hair. I used to dye my hair like bright red. And so I went with really, really warm color tones. All right, this guy is now dry enough that I can start working on him again. So let's switch back over here and we'll continue doing, so I've got some cleanup I'm gonna do on that big section, and then we'll move on to some of these other areas. But you see, I've got the undersides to do on that section I just painted. So I'm actually gonna switch to a slightly smaller brush because I think it'll just be a little easier. Not like super small. I'll switch over to my synthetic Citadel brush, but shouldn't be too bad. That's awesome, Chipster. I think that is totally something that it works both ways. You can totally be into the hobby first and then end up transitioning into other art forms because you can apply similar concepts to other art forms. That's one of the reasons that I actually got into the hobby as much as I did, is because I was already interested in comic books and painting in that way. When I discovered like miniatures and Games Workshop and like just all of that, it was super exciting because I was like, oh, this is another way for me to express myself creatively, but in a completely different form than I'm used to. And I found I really enjoyed it. I just didn't like the process until I got my lovely, beautiful contrast paints. Because, at the time, there was like, I didn't get encouraged to try inks, for example. I feel like there are definitely like creators out there who are like, oh yeah, use inks on your miniatures all the time. And I completely agree with them because they're going to behave very similarly to contrast paints. Because I'm pretty sure that's just what contrast is. It's just an ink wash for miniatures. But it was not something that like when I was in school and when I was first getting into the hobby was really encouraged. And nowadays, I feel like there's so much more encouragement for experimentation, and it's really cool to see. Like, that's something I love modernly about this hobby. Hello again, Sean! Welcome back! Hope you're having a good rest of your day. Yeah, Michael, I believe that completely, and that was so, like, it was so different back then, and I understand, like, why there was, like, when contrast paints first came out, I know there was a huge stigma against it, because a lot of old school fans like yourself, who had been painting for years and didn't have these tools previously, were like, that's not how you do it. And, like, I'm glad that that attitude has sort of gone away. Because, like, I think both methods are completely valid. Great. I'm gonna beef this up a little bit, actually. It's looking a bit thin. There we go. Yeah. A little bit thin there. Okay, there we go. That looks better. It's a little bit more in line with what we did on the top. There's a random white dot. How dare you? How dare you? All right, that's fine, that's fine. Now let's get the other side. Let me figure out a good angle for this. Ooh, Captain Discord, that is an excellent suggestion. I will definitely see if I can look into the Vallejo water textures as a drool effect, because I've been considering potentially doing some slime effects or like drool effects on my nids. I haven't decided if I'm going to, but it's something I've been considering, and I know there's a couple different options out there for doing cool drool effects, so I will take a look at the Vallejo stuff to see how, like, what I've seen other people do with it, because that sounds awesome. Havman, welcome back. All right, let's continue working on touch-up. All right, there we go, there we go. Oh god, oh god, oh god, hold on. Oh, thankfully the spikes prevented it from doing... Oh my gosh, thank goodness. I almost got purple everywhere. Not because of spilling the pot or anything, thank goodness, but my brush just... I wildly lost control of it. Interesting. I don't know if I'm familiar with UHU glue before. Also, Hari, welcome to the stream. I don't know if I said hello to you earlier. You did say hi. Okay, well, I am so sorry that I missed that. Apologies. I am sure you probably did. Listen, I am bad at my job sometimes. We all know this. I get distracted, okay? I can't help it. It's almost like I kind of need to look where I'm doing when I'm painting. Oh my goodness. Ridiculous. I know. I know, I know, I know. That is looking good. We've got a little bit... Looks like some lightness from edges here, so let's take care of that. Cool. Alright, that's looking good. Got a little bit here too. Hold on. Okay, that's looking better. do a little bit of wash over that. Looking a little bit pale in some places. This is what I mean when I say that contrast paint can be layered without it, like, really building up or losing you detail. Because you can just thin it down, treat it as a glaze, and touch up whatever you need to sort of give it a bit more defined look. I really, really enjoy that. You can also just completely miss sections with it because it decides to not go into the right section. Good night! Or, not good night. Hello, Nightman. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well today, sir. There we go. All right. Pretty good about that. Look how beautiful he's coming along. Ah, I love the colors. I really, really love the colors. Let's see, what time is it? It is 4:20. Blaze. No, I don't have anything to blaze with, but I'll take a sip of my soda. Also, Nightman Nemeth, I just have to say, and I think we've talked about this before, but every time I see your name in there, I just think of what's his first name?
Jimmy.
No.
Charles.
No.
Reginald.
No, he's a wrestler.
John.
No. Ziggler's brother.
Ryan
Nemeth. That's every time I see your name.
Also, most of those people I said were all wrestlers. John Cena. Reggie is a wrestler who won Money in the Bank for...
You're right.
Who did I say before that?
Jimmy Uso, I'm assuming, is who you
Jimmy
meant?
Snuka?
Jimmy Snuka? I would rather, like, let's...
I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. Did you bring me Blaze?
Yes. What was the other one? I'm trying to remember what else I said. I don't know. I think pretty sure everything I said was a wrestling name, so you can't get mad at me for not saying wrestling.
He's not wrong. I can't.
I think I said Adam.
You may have said Adam. Could be.
Baby.
Well, I was thinking you were going to go with Adam Page. I mean, there's a lot of Adams.
Just making assumptions.
That's what I do. Sometimes. It is 1:21 in Serbia. Hari. Sir, that is way too early in the morning. Go to bed. Goodness, you guys crack me up. Thank you for being here so early in the morning. That is ridiculous, and I appreciate it. I really, really do. Oh my gosh, Tim. Yes, you should absolutely do something with either Legion or Shatterpoint. I like both games quite a bit. Shatterpoint's really fun. I haven't played it in a little while because I played it a couple times prior to 10th edition 40k coming out. But then I stopped when 10th came out because we've been playing Combat Patrol. But I really enjoyed it. It's very quick paced, which I enjoy.
I painted my armies for 40k and painted my armies for Shatterpoint and kept the upstairs constantly ready and prepared for any time that you wish to play the games, ma'am.
He's not wrong. I just get tired because I have a lot of things to do. I know. It's my fault. I'm sorry. I do actually want to play, like, soon another game of Combat Patrol with you. That would be lovely. I would enjoy that a lot. We've just been very busy. We've been very, very busy. But I think both those games are fantastic, and also the miniatures are great. Like, they're absolutely great. Also, Chipster, you have Major High Fleet Geiger. I like it. Or Giger? I assume it's... Is it Giger or Geiger? Which one... I'm now not sure I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I like it. It's a good name, and I enjoy it. Also, I said it earlier, but it's more evident now because we've added more purple to my beautiful... Look at him. Focus, camera. Focus. I demand it. Focus. There we go. He's beautiful. This for those of you that may have missed it, this is Hive Fleet Maleficent. That's what I decided. I decided to go with Hive Fleet Maleficent. I think it's really, really fun. Sure, Michael, what is your question about Combat Patrol? I will do my best to answer. I don't know. Can you only use what comes in each Combat Patrol box? I believe so, yes. I think that is the whole point of the Combat Patrol style, is to just use what models that they suggest that comes in those boxes. Now, I will admit that I don't know for certain if you are explicitly, like, when you're playing, if you have to, or if you are allowed to mix and match and just, like, keep it within a certain points range. But I believe that they are designed to just be run as what Games Workshop has put out there as these are the Combat Patrol units for these individual armies. Now, I will say that that sucks a little bit because personally, I don't really think that the Winged Tyrant, or the Winged Prime, sorry, is that great of a model in regards to his, like, ability on the table in Combat Patrol. I've lost mine a lot, and I feel like he hasn't actually done that much, which kind of sucks. However, I also have not, like, I'm not used to using assassin-like characters, and he is definitely an assassin killer, or he is an assassin. He goes after people like that. So I just think it might be also me not using him optimally, but I do wish that you could switch things out in the Combat Patrols, specifically for that reason, because I would love to run literally anything else as my HQ outside of the Winged Prime, because I'm frustrated with it. But I do think you're supposed to run it as is. Captain Discord, it's tough coming up with a Hive Fleet name. Like, it took me a little while to figure out what I was going to do, because I knew my color scheme had already been kind of themed around the idea of toxicity and Disney villains, because, I mean, purple and green are just villainous colors. There's, like, plenty of great essays about why that has come to be a thing, but they are. And I wanted to make these guys, because they're bugs, I wanted them to look sort of bright and scary toxic, hence why the bright color tones. But then I also am just a major Disney fan. And even though Sleeping Beauty is not my favorite of the Disney films, I do really like Maleficent. I think she is a cool character. I don't really like the Angelina Jolie versions. Those are fine. I don't really actually have a problem with them, but I'm also like not like, oh my god, that is my Maleficent. I actually like the animated version of her. She's badass. And lots of greens and purples in those designs. So, hence why we did this. And I just thought Maleficent was like a cool sort of Latin-y feeling name, so I felt like it worked with the whole naming convention that Games Workshop tends to go with for their stuff, so I felt like it worked. I'm sure there's been other Hive Fleet Maleficents out there in the past from other creators and everything, but I'm really liking it. I think you can still play low points values and pick and choose what miniatures you want. But I don't know, like, I don't know that first, like, specifically. But surely you could just agree with your opponent to a low points game, set up the board in a Combat Patrol scale, but then go, okay, we're each gonna just build an army up to 500 points. The reason that I'm questioning whether or not it's designed that way is because I know for a fact that I believe it's the Space Marines have like 40 points more in what their units are actually equipped with and ran with in Combat Patrol than the Tyranids. And I think they have like 80 points more than, say, like the Necron Combat Patrol has. So they're not like when they designed them, they are not all into like specifically 500 points. They're kind of like a range. So I think as long as you and your opponent agree to whatever you want to do with it, you probably can do it. It's just that a matter of tournaments probably wouldn't let you. But that's, I mean, I I'm one of those people that don't play in tournaments very often, and while I know that there are some people who do play in tournaments a lot, I feel like majority of players don't. They're playing more casually, but like as if they're in a tournament. You know, we all like to use the tournament scoring and rules because they make sense. It's stupid that in tournaments for Warhammer, you can have your models land on top of the objective marker, but in like Combat Patrol and other games, you can't. That doesn't make sense to me. And I think everybody's just gonna end up doing it in the tournament style because that tends to be what happens. But if you're playing casually, just like, fuck it. As long as you and your opponent agree to it, then go for it, man. Bring whatever you want. Thank you, Mikey. I also, I mean, it's not untrue. It is a girl with her tentacles. I'm really loving how he's turning out. I am distracted. I should get some more purple on this boy. He's definitely dry. I just got really, really into our conversation that we were having about 40k. I can't multitask well. If you guys haven't noticed this, I do not multitask well. I know, Tim! I'm so upset by that. So I found out that the reason that happened is because I think in some early testing of 10th edition, their plan was to have the Ripper Swarms be able to go in with the Termagants, and possibly the Hormagants, I'm not really sure. Or Hormagaunts, sorry. But then they changed their mind, but they had already produced boxes designed to fit that playstyle. And then they changed, like, then they decided, nah, we're just gonna make it so that Ripper Swarms have to be run in units of 3. In no other way. You can't even run them individually. So the fact that they gave us one random one, or I think we have 2 random ones. We have 2 random ones out of Leviathan, and then, like, you get 1 random one every time that you buy Termagants. It makes me so mad. It was a silly choice, and this is why I wish they playtested better. This is why I wish they, like, I don't know, planned a bit more competently. But they're a business and they're huge. They don't always think about everything. It's difficult to. I get it. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna start working over here. I am. Okay, let me ask you guys a question, because I've been debating this, and I talked to Chaos Cultist a little bit about it, but I'd like more opinions, okay? This section right here, and this section right here, the very tips of these 2 legs on both sides. On this one, on the big one, this to me looks like a separate piece from this armored chitin that's over top of it. So I'm gonna do this in bone. This big spike's gonna be in bone. My question is, do you think I should do this spike also in bone, along with this one? Or should I make these ones purple? Because they're not quite blade-like this one is. Do you guys see see what I'm saying? Like, this one is a very distinct, like, blade. Whereas this is more of like a stabby, blunt object. Like, it's still pokey, but it's not cutty. See what I'm saying? Like, this has a cutty blade. This one's more rounded, and it looks a little bit just more like organic. So I was thinking of making these purple. Because the other thing that was making me lean that way is you'll notice on this leg, there's some little spikes sticking out of the bottom here. I was going to do those in bone. So I am leaning towards doing this in purple, but I'd like your guys' opinion, so please let me know. Kyle, a 4,000 point game of just Termagants? That would be, I mean, that's getting at apocalypse level, like, Termagants. You just be running an apocalypse game with nothing but Termagants. I mean, it'd be cool. I think it could be fun, but I don't know how, like, that'd be long. I feel like you'd end up rolling so many dice. There'd be so many dice, just because there'd be sheer volumes of Termagants. 4,000 points of Termagants would be an insane number. I don't own that many, but I completely understand. The shape, that is not necessarily a bad idea, putting some blood for the blood god over the bones. Never too much purple, Sean. I'm kind of there with you. I think purple is probably where I'm leaning. Just because, again, they look like different materials to me. Yeah, it'd be thousands of dice. I cannot wait for the new Horus Heresy epic. Or I guess it's like, what are they calling it? Imperialis something? I don't remember the actual name. Everybody's just referring to it as epic online, even though that's definitely not its name, and they're like, it's not epic, it's Horus Heresy. You can't use your cool Xeno characters in it. Diggs, welcome back. I'm so glad that dinner was delicious. What did you have? Was it like, did you have like chicken? Did you have some beef? Did you have something vegetarian? I don't actually know if like what your preferences are. I don't know what I'm doing for dinner tonight. I kind of want pizza bites. Like a part of me just really wants pizza bites. You didn't hear that. No, you didn't. You weren't supposed to be here when I said that. Do you want to do pizza bites with me tonight? Do we have enough?
I mean, probably, but it's not particularly healthy.
Well, we had sushi for dinner, or for lunch, so I felt like it wouldn't be so bad.
But you have your VIP stream tomorrow. Don't you need to keep your feminine figure?
I will be fine!
I'm trying to plug the VIP stream.
Listen, that is true. We do have
your VIP stream at 1 p.m. Pacific time. I'm not turning to look at the calendar.
It's at 1 p.m. Pacific time, but not on YouTube, because...
Any exclusive fanatics.
Oh, yeah.
Exclusive fanatics. You can figure out your own synonyms.
It's my Temple of Excess.
The VIP one.
The VIP
one.
one.
The new one. Wait, this is
the VIP. Yes. Yeah. It's the VIP one.
Right, the birthday one. Yeah.
The birthday one is going to be the other one, and that one is going to be on the free page.
There's a lot of stuff on the calendar. Like, there's like 9 colors.
Dude.
And there's not even like that many colors of marker.
Dude,
there's no many.
We worked on our schedule yesterday or like the day before. We were like, okay, we got to plan through the rest of July, August, and let's get into September a little bit, because we've got cons and people visiting and like all sorts of things happening. And I'm gonna switch over to my other screen because we're chatting. Like we're chatting. So we put a bunch of we had to write things out because we were like, there's a lot going on. We've got too many conventions. We've got people visiting. We've got sponsorship
I brought
stuff.
an exhaust gun.
Oh, excellent.
If you need to dry things. This is also a heat gun.
You would
want to be like 5 feet.
Okay, I was like, I would not want to use...
Yeah, I would be like back here, like with it.
We actually need to buy a tiny hairdryer for that reason.
Like Daiso sell
yeah, actually,
yeah,
they do, I think, and we should just get a cheap one from Daiso. Because like, I literally just need it. This is dry. I'm too invested in this conversation.
Don't do that with a heat gun. Jesus.
No, well, not while it's on. Okay, back to what we were talking about. Schedule. We needed to write things down. There was just too much happening, and oh my gosh, I have so many things happening. But back to our plug. If you do want to stop by and hang out with me again tomorrow, but in a after dark capacity, then you should absolutely check out my link tree in the video description below, and you'll want to join the VIP page if you want access to tomorrow's live stream. There is going to be one in August, probably on the 12th. I haven't made an official announcement, but it's going to likely be on the 12th. And there will be a live stream then that will also be an After Dark one, but that's on the free page. So there are options for you depending on what you want to do, but if you're into that, that's very cool. William, have a wonderful evening. Good night, sir. Get some rest. I hope you have a great rest of your evening and a very, very good tomorrow. Ronald, do you mean no sense of adventure when I open my mouth to the heat gun? I mean, I don't want to burn the inside of my mouth. That just sounds unpleasant. And while I know that Slanesh is very much into excess, and to be fair, so am I, that's a different type of excess that I'm not into. Michael, mine is too. We're actually going to be having a birthday live stream here on the channel because I just decided, you know what, fuck it, I want to do something and celebrate my birthday with you guys. So on the 11th, which is a Friday, we will be having a birthday bash live stream. right here on YouTube. I'm very excited for it. It should be very, very fun. I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'll probably just be hanging out, probably building Lego, eating cake maybe. And by cake, I mean brownies and or cupcakes. I don't know. I don't really like cake, but I like brownies and cupcakes. I like smaller portions of chocolate, is what I'm saying. So we'll probably be doing something like that. And yeah, that will be happening on August 11th, more than likely. When is your birthday? Because mine is August 11th. That is the day. So you'll actually be able to hang out with me literally on the day that I age and become an older woman. Nice. August 16th. Lots of August birthdays. Oh, Chipster. I don't know. Maybe your in-laws are lovely, but dealing with in-laws is an interesting thing for me. So I wish you well. I hope dinner isn't terrible. Well, Chipster, that's okay. That is absolutely fine if you're at work. Don't worry. Michael, yours is the 18th. Nice. Captain Discord, yours is the 27th? That's my sister's birthday. That's hilarious. My god, there are so many of you that have birthdays in August. Well, cool. We'll just all celebrate all of our birthdays on the 11th on stream. It'll be great. I'll eat cake for everybody. And by cake, I, again, mean either cupcakes or brownies, because they are more delicious. That is so cool. So many of you had parents that fucked at the same time that mine did, apparently. Or the same month, at least. The funny thing about birthdays is, like, when you think about it, you're like, we can tell 9 months ago our parents did it. Your grandfather was on the 25th? Man, so many summer birthdays. That's because we're the best, and we're all Leos. I think. No, actually, some of you won't be. Some of you are actually Libras. Never mind. It doesn't matter. I'm not actually a horoscope person. I just remember, like, when I was a kid, it was, like, way important to a lot of my friends. And so I did a stupid amount of research into what I was and then went, this is absolute bullshit. Some of it was true. Some of it was true. But there was other parts of it that I'm like, no, I'm not that type. Like, I'm not that much of a outgoing person. March is when yours is? Tim, that is awesome. I like spring a lot. March is actually a really good month. There's like nothing that happens for me in March, and I actually really enjoy that. So that's a good month to have a birthday. Late August. Oh, it's Virgo. Sorry. I apologize. Not Libra. Virgo. I don't know why I thought it was Libra for some reason. Because my sister's Virgo. Also, I think it's really funny that some of you know that, because I just don't associate that with being a thing that, like, dudes pay attention to as much. So the fact that you guys know your horoscopes is just top to me. It's fantastic. Diggs, if you were, yeah, like Havman said, if you were born between July 23rd and August 23rd, then you will be a Leo. Oh, yours is on the August 3rd? Your birthday? So then, yeah, you would be a Leo. You're a big, scary lion. Rawr! I like the Western horoscopes because it doesn't tell you, like, what year you ended up being born in. It just gives you the months, so that it's a lot easier to talk about. Although it is fun, like, I do really like the Chinese horoscopes, though, because the animals are so much more fun. It is really interesting. It's like... It is pretty fun. Like, there's definitely some, like, truths to some of it, for sure. Because I think people can just kind of be typed, honestly, into different personalities and everything. But, oh, got it. I see. I'm sorry, Diggs. I misunderstood. Ooh, Chipster, you're a fire dragon? That's rad. I think I was I think my element was Earth, if I remember correctly. It's been so long since I looked. I'm sorry this is a really awkward, this is a weird conversation for you guys, by the way. Oh, you're a Cancer, I gotcha. I understand, Sean. Oh, nice. Well, Michael, isn't this year of the rabbit as well? So it's your year. Woo! I mean, obviously you weren't born this year, obviously, but it's the year of the rabbit, so that's exciting. Captain Discord, you know what? I had never thought of it that way, but I really like the idea of being a mud newt. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was an earth dragon, because I ended up with both signs that were just like the super outgoing personality type, which was always really funny to me because like I made friends fine and everything, but I never really kept them super well, and I definitely did not go out of my way to like be the center of attention. That's why I never did theater. Like, despite the fact that I do YouTube, despite the fact that, you know, I present to you guys all the time at this point, and I film and I do skits and all kinds of stuff and can talk to you, you know, on camera, never did any theater ever in my life. And every time that I was even attempted to, or like was forced to, because that did happen occasionally, it was the most terrifying experience for me, and I had the absolute worst stage fright. It was awful. I like just could not deal with it. So the fact that I actually like got over that and can do YouTube now, I guess I'm living up to my Leo dragon personality. I'm not. It's really weird. I know it's really hard to believe modernly, but when I was a kid, I really did not like it. I was super, and like it's funny because I don't actually like being in crowds much. Like I am very much like I'm very much like I can, and I like engaging with people. Like, that doesn't bother me, but I do not go out of my way to do it, because I also find it incredibly exhausting, especially if I am, like, in person with people. Like, going to cons, like, wipes me out. Because I just get so tired, because my social energies just die really fast. And I've never really been like that type of, I need to be the focus of attention, despite the fact that I now do what I do for a living, which is funny because like I am a little bit of an exhibitionist, but not in the same way as I feel like the horoscopes and all of that shit described it. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. You're a wood hare? Nice. I like that hat. It might be a little bit. It could be a little bit. I don't think it's necessarily that. I think I get really distracted. Like, I just really lose focus on if I'm in crowds and stuff, and especially if there's like a lot of stuff going around me, it just becomes very overwhelming and I just lose focus. And I think that's partially why I don't like doing it. Whereas with this, because it ends up being really controlled, you know, like I have total control over this. I could turn off the camera if I was like really getting overwhelmed or something. I have ways of slowing chat down if I feel like you guys were going too fast or whatever. Like, it's really not like it's I feel so much more comfortable with this because there's the barrier, you know, and I have more control over it. Whereas in person, I mean, I do ramble exactly like I do on streams, but it's like even worse sometimes, honestly. And then I feel like I get like into really awkward situations because of it. That's what happens. And so I'm like, no. Oh, Nightman Nimbus, I think you totally, well, I mean, I don't know I assume you mean the streaming and not the other stuff that I do. And I think you can. It takes practice, and you definitely have to like find, not a gimmick explicitly, but you gotta find something that helps make you stand out, because good lord, there's a lot there's a lot of content creators out there, and there's a lot of people who do what I do. I mean, like, there's a lot of people who paint miniatures and talk about Warhammer and do all that stuff, and they're like way, way better at it than I am. But the fact that you guys like choose to hang out with me, like, I appreciate it. And yeah, it's just awesome, and I just really, really appreciate it. I think the rambling's good too. You know, I get you, but I know that sometimes it just does not stop, and then I don't give other people a chance to say anything, or I ignore what they're saying because I just keep going and I'm really focused on like what I'm talking about instead of what other people are talking about, and I'm awkward like that. Oh my gosh, I understand that completely. Diggs, I don't think that's true. I'm sure your rambling makes just as much sense as my sense. God, I can't talk sometimes. I just like slur words. As much sense as mine does. I don't think we would need a decoder ring for it. Wait, what? Does it actually? Does it? Wait, is that Nemeth means? No way. That's not how you spell definition at all. Holy cow. Definition. Huh. According to Google, and I could be wrong, oh, not the streaming. You mean the other stuff. Well, I mean, to be fair, you can absolutely do that too. There's nothing stopping you. And if you, I mean, like, you can totally, there are sites where you can do exactly what I do. I'm on them. I would encourage you to give it a try. Like, I mean, again, you gotta find a gimmick, and you gotta find something that makes you unique, because there's also a lot of that. There's also a lot of that out there. Probably more so. In fact, probably more so, and there's a lot of competition there. But it's totally doable. It's totally doable. Okay, so I looked it up, Captain Discord, and according to the internet, Nemeth, which is apparently originates from a Slavic word that means mute or the silent. I do not know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but apparently the original word is Nemet. There is a tilde over the E though, so I don't know if I'm saying, like, if I'm properly pronouncing that vowel. But that's apparently what it means, and that's really cool, actually. I had not known. I also didn't realize it was, you know, I don't know if Nightman has said it, but I didn't realize it was Hungarian. That's really cool. Or seemed originally that. I don't know. I just read something on the internet. Thank you for subscribing, Sandgro. Welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy your time here. We have 7 minutes until Ring of Honor starts, and I'm very excited for that. Okay, we'll do a smidge more painting. Let me switch over to here, and we'll do a smidge more painting. We can do this. We can end the stream with a little bit of paint going onto this model some more. I think we've let him dry enough. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just do these with purple. We talked about it a little bit earlier. And I think my plan is we're just going to do it in purple. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Let's make sure to get the other side. perfect. Not at all, actually. Look at all that white that I left there. There we go. Taking care of that. Now let's just do a little bit of cleanup on these edges. I'm so nervous doing these, like, fine edges. They're actually pretty easy to get your brush against, but they look like they're going to be fiddly. There we go. Alright, let's do the other side, because it's also lifted up the ground. I'm trying to do the ones that aren't touching the ground right now. Yes, Tony, this is an every Friday thing for me, although it's not always painting Tyranids, but I do stream every Friday. I actually stream multiple times every week. Tuesdays, we have a live stream that goes from 1 until roughly about 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because all my streams are California time. That's where I am. So we have one on Tuesdays that goes from 1 until roughly 3, sometimes a little after that. We have a Thursday stream, which right now is my partner and I playing the WWE 2K23 GM mode, although that is going to be wrapping up next week, because the following week we're going to be starting Baldur's Gate 3, which I'm really looking forward to. And then, so that'll be our Thursday stream going forward. Then we have a standard stream that happens every Friday at 3 p.m. going until about 5 p.m. on Fridays. And then typically we also have one final stream on Saturdays, which goes from 1 until roughly 3 p.m. And that one also tends to either be a hobby related one, or sometimes it's going to end up being, well, in the future when Baldur's Gate 3 is out, it'll probably be Chaos Cultist and I playing more Baldur's Gate 3 throughout the week, because we want to play through the entire thing, and I can't wait. It's gonna be really fun. But the Friday and Tuesday streams will remain hobby streams. So yes, that is our plan. I am also going to head out very, very soon in roughly 4 minutes. So Captain Discord, it was lovely having you here. Thank you for being awesome and hanging out. And that goes for all of you, actually, to every single person who has been chatting with me today, or if you've just been lurking and listening to me ramble about all of the various different things that I've talked about today, because good lord, it was a lot of different things. Thank you. You are all wonderful. I'm gonna go ahead and peace out now, because I want to get ready for the Ring of Honor pay-per-view that is going to be starting in just a few minutes, and I'm really looking forward to pretty much every match on the card. I think there was only like 1 or 2 where I was like, these are probably still going to be great, but I don't really recognize the people as much from them. But like the majority of them, I'm pumped for. So you'll probably be seeing me either tweet about that or share stuff about that online as I'm watching it. But I'm going to go ahead and get ready for that. And a lot of you, because I know it's very early in the morning or very super late at night, should go to bed. Go and get some sleep, please. Refresh yourselves for tomorrow, because we'll be back streaming over at my Temple of Excess if you want to hang out with me. So tomorrow, just as a reminder, there is not going to be a stream here on YouTube. It will be on a different site. You can find links to that in the link tree that is in the video description. You want to go to the VIP page if you want to join tomorrow's stream. But don't worry, there will start being streams on the free page in the immediate future, so you can be looking forward to that as well. Okay, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, that you get some sleep if it is super late for you, and if you are going to stay up and continue to hobby, I hope you have a wonderful hobby night. I've been Angela, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!